Yes, it's that time for our, of course, Geek Side Radio. I am DJ Galactic Ray. We're going to talk about geek and whatnot. Of course, my partner in crime. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Rebecca. Nice to meet you all.
Hey, everybody. Okay, so this is Geek Side Radio. Yes, we're going to talk everything geek because geek is now chic and we're coming to power.
We actually are. It's been a long time coming.
It's actually a very long time. It's actually very nice now. I mean, we're actually being revered in some cases.
I know, instead of sitting at the uncool table in high school.
I know.
We're the cool kids now.
People are hanging out with us.
Go figure.
So in this beginning segment, we're going to cover a few things. Of course, we're going to talk about what Geek Side Radio is. Then we're going to continue on. We're going to talk about, of course, movies, anything geeky. We're going to talk about, we have a new feed called Ludicrous Feed. So we're going to talk about different type of news feeds on
Maybe
that.
Schwartz be with us.
Yes. And then another segment coming up, we have about Disney. We actually have Tales from the Mouse Side.
We do have Tales from the Mouse Side.
I love that.
From the mouth of cast members, too.
Exactly. We'll be interviewing some cast members and some stories about Disneyland for all you geek people out there. And, of course, my favorite, Dating a Geek.
Yes.
Dating a Geek is something that, you should all do.
For sure.
Yeah, muscle and athletic, those people are, that's not how it is.
Well, actually, you could get the best of both worlds sometimes.
You could, huh? You could. Yeah, you could have a workout geek.
You can.
That's
and
actually
we
possible.
know a few.
We do. Actually, I actually know an MMA, Christoph. He is a total geek, and he's like an MMA, UFC fighter. I mean, you wouldn't think so, but he's a total DJ geek and a cosplayer too. Go figure. Anyway, we should get him in and interview him.
We should.
Okay, so basically, Geek Side Radio. We're going to cover everything about geeks. So we're going to actually talk about different subjects and topics that deals with it. What is geek? What are we from? What is it being a geek? One of the things about being a geek, of course, is Disney. A lot of people love this. Called Disneylanders. I call them Disneylanders.
Disnerds.
Yeah, Disnerds.
Or pass holes if you have an annual pass.
Yeah, exactly. But I have a premium pass, so I can go. I have Don't Mess With Me blackout dates.
Same here.
Yeah, and we go for a couple of hours and we geek out. And recently we've been hitting some of the high points, about that. But that's just one side. The other side, of course, is cosplay. Cosplay is a really big thing in the geek community. I know I have probably about a dozen Star Wars costumes. Now, I theme mine. I haven't really gone out the rim. I mean, I have a Wolverine. I have like a Magneto. But you've got a couple costumes too, right?
I do. I actually started many years ago, back in the day, with anime, true cosplay as it was. And then I've kind of morphed a little bit more into your costuming, your original characters, as well as doing stuff from movie shows. And
that reminds me, because you're a very voluptuous redhead with beautiful eyes. It's one of the hot geek girls that I know personally. But honestly, because you cosplay, wear a costume isn't consent of touching.
Correct. And a lot of people talk about cosplay isn't consent. And that is very true. And it's something that a lot of women have to deal with. Now, I do understand that there are some women out there that are trying to put themselves out there and trying to get photographed, and some of them are the loud ones, but there are women out there that are not wearing those voluptuous costumes like me. I actually have had someone try in my Jedi Lord Keeper robes try and grab my ass. Now, understandably,
right now, actually, I've been grabbed and groped a couple of times myself in my Vader and Stormtrooper costume. I'm not gonna complain. So, but because I don't get that much when I'm not in costume, so I'm not going to complain. But I'm like, it's not that
your butt says yes, but society says no.
Exactly. And the women I date are like, you let that happen? No,
we never let that happen.
No, never happened.
That's the thing.
So, but cosplaying isn't consent, because you will see some really hot cosplayers, and they're extremely attractive. But again, it's not consent. So, we run into that. Some people run into that. I always say stormtroopers are like rock stars. Women flock to the stormtroopers, which
because we can't tell them apart. So we always think that there's somebody else underneath the stormtrooper head.
What do you look like on there? If you knew what we look under there, if you only knew.
If you knew how sweaty and how many fans we have in our helmets, you would not think we were that cool and sexy.
And to just make it clear, being a cosplayer doesn't make you that much of a geek. I mean, if you like wearing it, I know there's different types. There's Marvel. Lon, who's a good friend of mine, who does actually Wolverine, shirtless Wolverine ladies, total geek, and women look. They drool over him. I mean, he always has a hot girl on his elbow. Oh yeah. So so geeks can be hot, which is pretty cool. But also, I think cosplaying is just part of the whole realm. There's comic books. Comic books has been really growing. Oh my gosh, Disney bought Marvel, as we all know, and as we know,
they turned around and bought Lucasfilm.
True.
And then now all of a sudden we have this amazing set of new Star Wars comic books and new comic book movies that have been coming out. And now it's a big business in terms of the comic book movies. I mean, look at what's been coming out. We had Deadpool just came out, $1 billion grosser.
Right.
Then we had, you've got Batman versus Superman's coming up.
I'm really excited to hear about that one. Everybody has talked about, and it's, if you're a true nerd, this is based on the Frank Miller comic book that he did a couple of years back. It was called The Dark Knight Returns. Look it up. Great book to read.
That is a good one.
Now, Frank Miller, this guy, he actually did 300. Mm-hmm. He actually did Sin City. Mm-hmm. And mind you, these were all comic books before they were hit movies.
He's done some amazing work.
Right. I mean, I'm not saying that his artwork is spectacular, but the vision, stories, exactly, which really just resonates and gives Hollywood the script they need and the action they need for a good movie.
And the thing is, a lot of people think of comic book movies and they're thinking, the Spider-Mans, the Supermans, the Batman Returns. But there is also a bunch of sub-genre books, like one-offs, like Sin City, that are just fantastic in terms of their story. Most people don't know that 300 was a graphic novel. It was, of course, it's a story based on truth, but it is also a graphic novel that is fantastic to read. And it's a fantastic development story because if you're not into a series, if you're not going to be into Uncanny X-Men, if you're not going to jump into Lando Calrissian or any one of those longer books, even My Little Pony, come on guys, everyone, we know all the bronies out there.
Right.
50-something issues into that.
That's
graphic
a good point.
novels are a great way to turn around and get a great
My Little Pony.
Story.
There's a whole group of people doing My Little Pony. Mm-hmm. I know I have a son who's 5, and he likes watching the cartoons.
Oh, yeah. My nephew too.
Yeah, and actually they work on different levels. And say, for example, you do like Batman. There's books that go deeper into the storyline that allows you to get into.
And there's even an alternative universe version where instead of Bruce Wayne's parents dying, he dies and his parents become Batman and his mother becomes a Joker. Right. So there is a lot of really neat books out there.
That's the beauty of comic books is that it allows you to experiment with characters, and so it'll give you a chance to actually feel what it is all about. But so definitely check that out. But you'll notice that comic books are becoming really predominant in the whole world of our entertainment. Hollywood can't be producing any more scripts. I mean, headline on Deadpool alone, crushing 300 million worldwide, and it ended a weekend debut. I mean, and I remember like on the third weekend that Deadpool's out, there was another movie, I'm not going to mention names, that came out, and Deadpool desecrated after like 3 weeks being open already. So that means people are going to go see it again and again. Now, I've seen it twice.
I have too.
I want to see it again for the third time.
It's great.
It's really revolutionary because that's what we've been reading for years in comic books. It's what everybody else has been missing, but then when they start making the movie, it becomes like this really great thing because we know what the fruit is. We know it tastes good. We know it's entertaining.
Well, what I love about something like Deadpool is you have an actor like Ryan Reynolds, who not only liked playing the character, he is a huge Deadpool fan, and that was the whole reason why in Wolverine he played the part to begin with, is because he actually liked the part, and he was so disappointed that it didn't stand true to the Deadpool story.
And it's the executive.
He spent many years, and he's even done interviews saying he spent nearly 5 years trying to not only get the funding to do Deadpool, but to find the writers that are going to be true to Deadpool and find the people involved in the industry that are going to give credence to this amazingly crass yet hilarious character.
Well, what's really great about this movie is a lot of people don't realize that they actually did a teaser, and then Ryan Reynolds donated his time. He actually helped create this teaser, but the teaser wasn't done by a studio. It was done by a gaming company.
Really?
So, it was really interesting.
Know.
Yeah, there was a gaming company that actually put it together, and if you actually look at it, it was a gaming company that produced the movie. So a movie studio backed it, but actually a gaming company actually did the CG on it, and they knew what it was. And if you know gamers, I know a lot. My son's a big gamer, awesome gamer.
I used to be.
But if you notice, they had these beginnings of this of these movies or these trailers of these games to tease people, and they look like movies that you want to go see,
right?
And it's just a trailer for a movie. So we're like, yeah, that's what we wanted to see, and it's not a movie. Ugh,
it's actually a video game.
Yeah, exactly.
But you have huge companies nowadays, like Trailer Park is actually producing trailers for video games.
Exactly.
Whereas their bread and butter is actually doing trailers for the movies that we see. I mean, they're one of the biggest companies that makes trailers, and now they've expanded, which tells you now you're going to hopefully start seeing some good video games turned into movies. We'll see. No more Battleship, guys. Can we cut it with those Hollywood?
Come on. I like Battleship. I'll say it. I liked it.
Honest?
Be honest, please.
Right, that is
drop the chimichanga. Come on, give it to me.
That is actually one of my guilty pleasures. Is watching Battleship.
I liked it. I thought it was funny how the pegs from the game when you were a kid, they produced it into this weapon that destroyed ships, and it was And if you stop and you look at the pegs,
is based on Noah.
Exactly.
Oceanic stuff, and I'm just like, oh, you have to be kidding me.
Yeah.
The acting is terrible in it, but the idea behind
alien idea was great. It was great.
They were very non-humanistic.
Exactly, and they had some good story arcs in that.
Yeah.
And the same actor, I believe, was also in John Carter, which was a big disappointment for a lot of people, but I enjoyed it.
So
I enjoyed
Did you ever
it.
read the book?
No, you know what?
See,
I'm a bad person. I'll say it. I didn't read that book.
But you have to understand a book like that. So now we're getting, you have comic books. You had a book in John Carter that was written the early 1900s,
right? And
which was revolutionary for its time.
Right.
And it wasn't actually a book; it was done in a monthly magazine.
Well, I think what happened to it is
it holds a lot more true to the book,
right?
Which is what most people, because it has been turned into comic books and it has been retold so many times,
right?
That most people don't understand the story of John Carter.
And and it's funny because that book actually influenced people like George Lucas.
Yes, it did.
Look what he created. He created a whole because realistically, Rebecca and myself, we are Star Wars kids, and I like to say that because we are the kids in the generation that grew up with Star Wars, dreamt of Star Wars. We didn't have the Halos and all the other great stuff.
No, we didn't.
But what's interesting, we are the next generation, and I like to say that Force Awakens was the biggest fan film I've ever seen.
It was, because you have someone like J.J. Abrams who actually was a huge Star Wars fan, and the biggest thing about that is he said in an interview, I'm such a fan, I don't want to screw this up. I want to create a movie that I wanted to see. And I think he gave us a movie we wanted to see.
Right.
I think it was a good mix of old and good mix of new, as a lot of people asked me, Rebecca, what did you think of the film? And I said, well, it's a Star Wars film done by J.J. Abrams.
Right. Right.
That's exactly what it is.
And it had a different feel to it. It had a different feel to it.
You had that great space opera, very dramatic, yet funny one-liners, and you also had those J.J. Abrams, Easter eggs in it, and you also had his cinematographic style.
Now, if you don't know what an Easter egg is, just so for people out there, Easter egg is a little nod to something, a little maybe a little teaser or something to come. He drops those, and
he does.
And you know what? If you're a geek like us, we love those.
We love Easter eggs.
We love those. Thank you so much. And then the Easter eggs after a lot of Marvel films.
Yes.
Like Guardians of the Galaxy. Oh, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. They're working on that.
Yes. Baby Groot. Have you seen that?
I saw the picture. Baby Groot.
It's so cute.
If you're not a fan of Guardians of the Galaxy, and I will say this, and I will get chastised for this, but Guardians of the Galaxy replaced my all-time favorite movie, Star Wars. Yes.
No.
Yes. Because you know what? It had the humor, it had the fun, it had the challenge, and it had the bad guy, it had the good guy. It was such a great space opera, and then the visual and the storyline, and it rolled, and the rhythm of it, and it was just oh my God, Chris Pratt as in the comedy portion of it.
It was fantastic.
Fantastic, and you know what? It was a fun adventure sci-fi film, and I just can't wait to the next one.
Neither can I.
Yeah.
Even if you're not a huge comic book movie fan or a sci-fi fan, it was a fun movie.
It was.
And I think the casting of Chris Pratt as Star-Lord was so spot on, because he's a little bit of his character Park and Recreation,
right?
But he is also kind of has that little bit of serious side that you see come out in Jurassic World, and it's this perfect mixture of seriousness and comedy, which is what it needed, because some of the stuff gets so heavy in some of these storylines and in these movies, and he brought this levity that you don't see without being like slapstick funny,
right?
Like I call it the Uncle Buck effect.
Okay, I get that.
Because Uncle Buck was just slapstick, and no matter what you do, but John Candy brought this amazing character to life where he was lovable.
Yes, I love the drill scene when he's like. Then he's all Nat, but I miss John Candy. He was a great actor, great actor, and it was
I always expect pancakes for my birthday made with a snow shovel, even though we live in Southern California. Yeah, we don't get snow.
And the thing is our whole point is that comic books have influenced movies throughout the years. I mean, the new movies coming out, there are comic book themes, Batman versus Superman. I love the arc of Batman representing man and how Superman's is representing God and how they're fighting, how there's this conflict. And I have to give it to Ben Affleck. It looks like he pulled it off, but we haven't seen the movie yet. Looks like he's getting there.
That's true.
Yeah.
You can only see so much because he's been in so little of the 2 teaser trailers that they have out right now. And all you see is just him in the bat suit and the stuff coming down. You don't really see any of the acting. So I'm hoping that it actually is fantastic. We shall see. But I'm actually looking more forward to Civil War. Have you seen the new trailer for Civil War?
I have not seen the new trailer for Civil War. Although the buzz is actually we won't get we won't get to the buzz. Actually, we'll wait to the hyperspeed ludicrous speed buzz in a little bit. Yeah. But first but that's one of the movies that are coming out. There's a ton of different comic book theme movies that are hitting and take a look and see that you didn't even know they were comic book movies. I mean, Men in Black. Comic book series.
Absolutely.
A lot of people don't know that.
Great comic book.
And if you're a geek like us, we kind of knew it was coming, what was happening. But and you figure you had years of people actually reading these comic books and they were perfecting the story and they actually were able to figure out what the equation was. I mean, look at all the Spider-Mans. I mean, if you look at what type of Spider-Mans are out there, there are like a dozen different Spider-Man comics. There's Spectacular Spider-Man, there's Amazing Spider-Man, and then there's Spider-Girl. Now Spider-Gwen is a big one that just hit a lot of it. A lot of the female heroes are really coming to life.
They are.
Oh, and that reminds
coming
me
into their own.
Exactly.
They really are.
And that reminds me about like The Force Awakens. Now our hero was a female.
She's a girl.
Right? Yeah. Rey ended up being our hero, which I think was great. It's empowering for a lot of women. I like to see that. I thought that was wonderful. And the way that, if you haven't seen the movie, Kylo is trying to reach for Luke Skywalker / Anakin's lightsaber, and it flies past him, and Rey calls it by using the Force. Yeah. It was such a great moment. And my son pointed it out because he's a big geek like myself, and he saw it was like the lightsaber chose Rey, and I was like, oh my god, you nailed it.
It did. I think in a certain way when you start getting, it's kind of like Mandalorian armor. Mandalorian armor gets passed down from generation to generation.
And Mandalorian armor, for you people who don't know, is referring to like Boba Fett and Jango Fett. Just so you know, us geeks we call it Mandalorian armor.
We call it Mando armor. Sorry.
Yeah.
And so I think that lightsabers from generation to generation can do the same thing. I know that if anyone knows about Star Wars lore, you know that part of going from a youngling to a Padawan is building your own lightsaber.
Exactly.
But I think in certain ways...
It's a rite of passage.
It is a rite of passage.
Being a Jedi Master myself. Hello there.
Lord Keeper here.
Right.
And then I think that in a way the lightsabers know. And we're at that time where they don't... The Jedi are gone. And so this lightsaber needs a master, and it finds one. And, and it goes to her because she is the most worthy one of wielding it.
Yeah. You are a geek.
I am.
Yes, I am. Okay, so
this is my life.
So real quick,
I grew up in Star Wars.
Let's move this segment into what we want to talk about is the myths about being a geek.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, the myths of being geeks. We stay at home all the time. Well, that's kind of true sometimes because we're either making costumes or playing games or whatnot. But we do Netflix and chill. Just to let you know that if you don't know what that is, don't look it up.
Please don't.
And then, also, actually, another myth is that, we are just people. There are some geek and nerds out there that will be like, when I have my Star Destroyer, I'm going to have 44 more turbo blasters than the regular one has. And we don't all talk that way. We don't all present ourselves that way.
It's not actually a unit of time. It's a unit of space.
That's just true. So, you get that, but that's not, a lot of us aren't like that.
We're not. Actually, we're normal people with normal jobs and normal lives.
I have a good friend named Mike. I won't give his name out, but actually, if you know Futurama, there's a robot named Bender. And anyway, so my friend Mike, he's a doctor, and he has Stormtrooper armor. He's had different type of armor, and He's got a beautiful wife, and he's got a Camaro that looks like Bumblebee from Transformers.
Yes.
And that's kind of
my kind of geek right there.
And that's funny about geeks is that we actually have jobs, and we're smart, intelligent people, and we actually are functioning people. There are some people, geeks out there that are not. I will admit that.
There are still a few out there that are living in mommy and daddy's basement. But that's few and far between.
But we're going to talk more about those other geeks, about dating a geek, in a different segment that's coming up. But some of the memes, you know what? We're just like everybody else, and there's nothing wrong with that. So if you want to learn more about a geek, listen to our show, check us out. But we'll be more than happy to answer your questions, because you can email me if you want at djgalacticray@gmail.com, and I'd be more than happy to answer your geeky questions. But just kind of moving on real quick, I want to cover a thing about ludicrous speed.
Ludicrous speed.
Speed feed. Here we go. Ludicrous
We're hitting pad.
So ludicrous speed feed. So what we're going to talk about now is topics that actually are coming down. It's big buzz. One of the big buzz, of course, that hit today. Civil Wars.
Civil War new trailer number 2.
Now, if you're a big geek, there is Civil Wars. There's Secret Wars, and Secret Wars is really exciting. It's imagine a comic book series about all your favorite villains and all your favorite superheroes in the Marvel universe just fighting it out on the planet. Secret Wars.
I have a question.
What's that?
Ray.
Go ahead.
Are you Team Cap or are you Team Iron Man?
I am Team Iron Man.
Oh.
Yeah. Stay down, Cap. Stay down. Anyway, so right now, the buzz is going on right now. Who makes a big debut appearance in Civil Wars? Who? Spider-Man. That's right, Spider-Man. That's why we had opening segment of Spider-Man. Spider-Man makes a debut appearance in his underoos. Is it not?
No. See, you haven't watched the whole trailer.
I know,
so
but I
get to talk about the trailer.
But I love it because if you actually read the book, and Spider-Man always refers to himself in his underoos or his underwear.
Right. So in the trailer, spoiler alert, at the end, after the Civil War logo pops up, and Iron Man turns around and says, "Hey, underoos," and there is Spider-Man.
Yeah. And if you don't know what Civil Wars is, okay, so apparently Captain America has a friend that he tries to help out. Just a quick synopsis. I'm not going to give you anything away. Just going to give you a quick lowdown. And decides to help him out, which goes against what the government wants.
Because
and then, of course,
he's a villain.
Right. Or he was a villain.
He was a villain.
Yeah, he was a villain. He's kind of like a Boba Fett. He's like a bad guy, kind of good. You know he's bad, but yeah, he's kind of cool.
Doesn't he actually lose his memory and he doesn't quite know who he is?
Right.
And it's when he starts to remember who he is as
right.
Bucky.
Because he was a good guy at one time.
He was a U.S. soldier.
But you should watch those the Captain American movies and so you can catch up on what's going on. I would recommend that. Definitely watching Captain America, kind of watch the Avengers, and actually will give you a breakdown of that. But at the same time, basically Iron Man and Captain America kind of duke it out. Iron Man's acting as an agent, and it's funny because it kind of lines up with the Batman and Superman because Superman is also represented by the government, tried to stop Batman, who's a vigilante who goes against the government or goes against what's not being worked to take matters in his own hands. So realistically, these movies are very similar.
They actually are in terms of your overall semantic plot. I mean, you've got Batman versus Superman, like you were saying, you've got the government versus everyone else. And then you have the same thing really in Civil War. So what ends up happening there is the international entities are feeling like the U.S. government and international entities are feeling that Captain America leasing him. And so Iron Man gets involved, Tony Stark gets involved and says, yes, we need to be policed as the Avengers. And so the two of them go head to head on this, and it kind of literally tears the Avengers team in two. Like all of a sudden you have half the Avengers against the other half. Right. And that's what ends up happening is that you've got the government, which in this case is backed by Iron Man. Right. And War Machine. Right. Or Warhammer, I guess is what they call him.
But you can't take his armor.
No, you can't.
No, but he brings peace, yeah. Okay, so anyway, you're getting a little deep into what we want to know. So that's the big buzz that's going on right now. Of course, if you don't know about Star Wars, and if you're not a Star Wars nerd like us, we love Star Wars, Rogue One.
Yes.
So it's the next installment of the Star Wars plan, so that's coming out, so you want to be looking after that. This has nothing to do with the storyline of the Skywalkers. Is actually, I think they probably entangle it.
It's an anthology film, so it actually has nothing to do with the plot that we know already.
Exactly.
What it is it takes place in the universe. So what we're seeing is we're seeing the spies steal the plans for the original Death Star.
Oh, here we go. So you're giving some of the story away, huh?
That's about all we know.
Okay. So, but it's called Rogue One, which
Yes.
is, which is kind of like what we kind of got introduced and dropped into Star Wars at New Hope, because Princess Leia had had the plans for the Death Star. So, but it's kind of interesting because that's what it butts up next to it. But I have to say, so that's kind of the big buzz that's going on right now. Of course, another one is Wolverine's coming out.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a true comic book fan or nerd or geek like us, you know that Wolverine is not a PG-13 person. He is very violent. He is very mean-spirited, but at the same time, he's a tough guy. He's got these walls and barriers. But the new Wolverine's supposedly going to be rated R. So we have to give a nod to Deadpool, because Deadpool showed that you can make a lot of money and a good rated R movie. Now, if you haven't seen Deadpool, again, go see it, but understand it's adult film. Understand adult content. Don't take your kids if they're not old enough, if they've not been around it. I did take my son, who is 17, and he went and he saw it and we enjoyed it. But he was brought up on that. He's a Game of Thrones fan. He's actually, and that's also part of it. Game of Thrones. Also, all of those little kind of like a pop culture, it's becoming like into it. And, but, a lot of the kids that I have in my house have been growing up in that, because that is in that environment. So those are the couple of hot topics coming down the line. But, of course, Deadpool 2 is coming out. They're going to start working on that. That's a lot of buzz about that coming down. Of course, we'll be hitting Comic-Con and giving you some updates of what's going to be coming down. But that's a little bit of the ludicrous speed information for you. But definitely one of the best things about being a geek is we kind of know all the insides of what's coming up. But moving on, we're going to move into a segment what we call Tales from the Mouse Side, which is Disney, because that's always a big culture about us and what we are. So if you haven't known, of course, if you have been living under a rock, so Disney purchased Star Wars from Lucasfilm. And Disney is going crazy with Star Wars. Oh my gosh. And I think just, the first week alone, they made their money back?
They purchased the Lucasfilm property. Everything that they had except for Indiana Jones.
And except for George himself.
Yes. There's talk about that too, because George is now is the majority shareholder.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting though is George, if he's all over the internet, and he said he wanted to stay out of it.
He did.
He wanted to stay out of the new movie, and I get that. Some people are petitioned to have him back.
Yes.
I personally like the first two movies. I personally like episode 1, 2, and 3. I know I'm kind of weird about that, but I think the thing that we take away from here as being a geek, he's the maker. He pretty much sees the vision.
Yeah, it was his idea. It was his universe. It was his world.
My only problem is I think he probably ran into was the chapters. I mean, I think there was. I mean, if you really think about how big the story arc is, there really is there's chapters in between. And if you follow Clone Wars, which is a cartoon on Netflix, they actually fill in some gaps and answer some questions about Star Wars.
Yes.
So definitely you want to check about that. But Disney owns that now, and of course they have Rebels. Rebels is it animated?
Season 2 or 3 is coming
I think it's gone on season 3.
I think it's season 3.
Yeah, it's actually one of the really popular ones. I think a lot of the kids are into that. I see a lot of the Rebels costumes going on, which is really exciting to see.
And actually, one of people I grew up with is actually going to be on Rebels now.
Really?
Sarah Michelle Gellar does the voice of the Seventh Sister.
Well, that's fantastic.
I know.
And then so Disney's been doing a lot of.
You know what today is?
What's that?
Today is the 19th anniversary of Buffy the Vampire Slayer coming out.
Oh, there you go.
So there you go. We'll tie in.
It's kind of funny because isn't Freddie Prinze Jr. Freddie? Isn't he like the name of Kanan? Yeah, he is. Anyway, so back to where we were talking about Disney. So if you haven't heard, they're creating a Star Wars land at Disney. Right now, they did a pseudo land. They revamped Space Mountain. Now it's Hyperspace Mountain. They actually went back and then they created a launch bay where they have the Avengers and you can meet Iron Man and Thor. Now you can meet Kylo Ren and Chewbacca. So they have really
and Boba Fett on a good day.
Boba Fett had a good day. I've seen a lot of people taking pictures of Boba Fett. But
Chewie. Don't forget Chewie.
No, you get Chewie and Vader. Does Vader? Is some Vader?
Actually, they replaced Vader with Kylo Ren. So right now, Vader.
And Kylo Ren talks. By the way,
they do. They interact. So
now I have to tell you what I have to tell you what I did.
Questions.
I have to tell you what I did. So if you saw Star Wars, if you haven't seen Star Wars, this is going to be a bit of a, I'm going to give away a secret.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
All right. So excuse me. So I saw Kylo Ren and I went, Ben. oh my gosh,
no.
you look different. And he just looked at me. I mean, he had the helmet on, but he could tell by his personality, and he started talking to me, which was fantastic. I was laughing so hard. I went on my birthday, and I just was so obnoxious. Yeah. 40...
So I got a bad joke in return to that.
Okay, go ahead.
So, what's up with Ben's dad?
What about Ben's dad?
He's flying solo.
Oh. Crash and burn. Crash and burn.
I never said it was a good joke.
I know, right? Okay, so, but Disney is going all out. As they can say, they're going in deep. I could say some other words, but I guess this is the chimichanga for them. As they're going on, they're going deep. They're going to create a Star Wars land. They're getting rid of, apparently, was it the Thunder Ranch and all that?
Yes, they actually have already gone ahead at the end of January, and they closed Big Thunder Ranch. All the animals, if you're wondering, from the petting zoo have been relocated to different petting zoos around Orange County. And they're actually closing all that, and all that's going to become a Star Wars land. And if you watch the 60th anniversary special that came out later last month, you actually saw some of the stuff. So we actually got a sneak preview of a couple of the things we're going to see, including a nightclub. We are going to get a cantina, and you're actually going to have your chance to fly the Millennium Falcon.
That is awesome.
Isn't that great?
Good insight of what's coming down for all you Star Wars geeks out there. Yeah.
And they've broken ground already. So they actually cleared out a lot of the backlot. And right now they're currently draining the rivers of America so they can start bringing the construction crews in.
And I'm like, there goes the Tom Sawyer thing. I grew up with that.
Just temporary.
And it's kind of sad. And there goes Fantasmic. If you haven't seen Fantasmic, it's actually a very good show.
All that kind of stuff has been put on hold until next year. So we'll still get it back.
Right.
But we just have to wait for all of us Star Wars nerds. Sorry, guys.
Now, in my personal opinion, I have to say they messed up World of Color, which is on the DC side. DC side, if you haven't been to Disneyland recently, is all about Cars, Bugs Life. It has Tower of Terror. It actually has one of the really funnest roller coasters I've been on.
Yes.
And imagine a roller coaster that's magnetically propels you into speeds within seconds. The G-force on that is just so exhilarating.
2.5 Gs.
Yeah, it's so exhilarating. But also, if you go there on a good day, you'll see actually some First Order Stormtroopers walking around.
You will?
Yes. And then the course is there's a Path of the Jedi show, which was Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, which was Captain EO back in the day. So, there's a lot of Star Wars themes going on over there. So a lot of people are excited about that. I know I am. And then,
I am totally stoked. It's what I've always wanted.
I will
here in California.
I will say this and say I am totally disillusioned with the new Jedi show. The old Jedi show was fantastic.
They just changed it up again.
Yeah, and
it really wasn't getting the buzz that people wanted. So what they did is
I was right though. But I was right though.
Everybody was right.
Yeah, because I could have told you that. And I'm not even an Imagineer. I was like, what is this? Oh my gosh.
So what they did is because Star Wars Rebels was becoming so popular, they actually redid the entire stage, did it like it was a Lost Jedi temple. Let me just
back up for a second. So I'm assuming people know what we're talking about. So there's a little venue that opens up and does a show about 4 to 5 times a day, and it was called the Jedi Academy, and little kids would come out and they'll teach them how to use the Force with a fake lightsaber, and they got to fight Darth Vader and Darth Maul. And of course, the Jedi would sit there and say, strike left, strike right, and whatnot.
It was all scripted.
It was all scripted. It was great sound effects and everything. It was great show. It debuted at Celebration 3, the Star Wars convention I went to. It actually was sponsored by Burger King. Go figure. And it actually was a Lucasfilm thing, which then they turned around, licensed, and kind of had Disney do it. Mm-hmm. So now they decided to revamp it. And boy, it did not go well.
It did not go over well. So it was closed for a little bit while they revamped the stage.
Right.
And then what they did is they came out, since Rebels became so popular with the younger population.
Right.
They decided to integrate for the next season of Rebels. Well, the problem is that they're introducing this character, like I mentioned before, the Seventh Sister.
Right.
And it's not out yet. So now the kids are fighting this character. They have no idea who she is.
I'm sorry, but the character's horrible.
Let's wait and see what happens.
I know, but it's just the presence, the costume. I was just like, really?
It's because we don't really know yet what the Seventh Sister and that side of the Inquisitors, which is what they've put into the Rebels series, or the Inquisitors are hunting the rest of the Jedi.
An Inquisitor is not like a Darth Vader.
No.
It's like somebody who's like a bad guy who...
Pretty much. It's your generic bad guy.
Right.
And so what they did is they had gotten rid of Darth Maul, they've gotten rid of Darth Vader, and you have the Seventh Sister come out. Well, it didn't go over.
Right.
So now what they've done is they've added a little bit of this. The Seventh Sister is still there, but now you have Darth Vader and Kylo Ren are back.
Right.
So now
grandfather and son and grandson going at it. And spoiler alert, by the way.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But now you have something that kids, if they haven't watched the show, they kind of know, because they at this point know who Kylo Ren is.
Right.
They know who Darth Vader is, and they can relate to that. And
I get that.
Even the parents are like, "Yay, this is a much better show to go watch." Or if you're a total Disney nerd as well as Star Wars nerd like me, you just go and watch it just because you want to see what's going on.
Right. And it's great entertainment for the family. If you don't know what's going on, that's kind of like what is happening. And what we see, of course, as being nerds in the community, because a lot of us are actually employed by Disney, and a lot of us work there as...
There are a lot of nerds and geeks that work at Disney.
It's the happiest place on earth. But, also, when you go now to Disneyland, just so you know, there's actually metal detectors, and they actually have randomly will pull you aside and have you walk through.
Unless you're my boyfriend, then you get picked every time.
But...
The most unassuming guy in the world gets picked every time to go through the metal detector.
That's because he's a big photo bomber. That's why.
That's his, yeah.
But it's one of the things that you go through your first checkpoint, you go walk through. Now they have checkpoints before you get to the main gates, and then they have metal detectors, and they randomly pick people to go through that. So expect that. As avid Disneylanders who go, I would probably say go light. Don't take a whole lot of stuff, because it's just gonna weigh you down. And
don't bring your blasters, guys.
Yeah.
I know that it was fun. What was really nice is when the launch bay and all that stuff opened with the Seasons of the Force, it was all excited because they invited all of us costumers to say, hey, get dressed up in your Star Wars stuff and come to Disney. And then unfortunately we had an incident out here in San Bernardino, and then the next day it was like, nope.
It was pulled.
Whatever you do, if you want to keep your blaster or your lightsaber, leave it at home.
Right, exactly. But Disneyland's like revamping. They're really, like I said, they're doubling down on Star Wars, which that's one of the more exciting things that's coming out. Nothing else really going on in the park.
Not too much.
Yeah, it's kind of like just all about buzz right now about Star Wars.
Just the ending of the 60th anniversary.
Mad Tea Party.
Mad Tea Party will be ending next month, and it's going to be replaced by something else.
And if you haven't been there, Mad Tea Party is on the DC side, and actually it's like a live concert / DJ party, and you can go and just kind of dance around and have fun. It's the old Videopolis. If I'm gonna throw that out there.
Wow, that's pretty old school.
Yeah, it's old school. It's on the other side. It's like the old Videopolis.
Can I honestly say that was before my time?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
My time at Disney, I should say.
Yeah. Anyway, like I was saying, the old Videopolis, when I was a teenager, that was a hot thing. The ticket prices, they actually changed now. They actually are doing this fluctuation in pricing. Yes. So if you want to go after 5 o'clock, like they used to do back in the day when we used to go to Videopolis, you could actually get a discounted price.
It depends. They are doing, if you do an event, they can do discounted tickets. What they're doing now is they've moved to what they have in Paris is a fluctuating price based on time of year. So when it's going to be higher capacity for the parks, you're going to pay a higher price. When it's off season, like it is right now, you're going to actually pay a lower price, which is something that they've done in Paris for years. And of course, they also have an after 5 o'clock deal there, and they're actually going to start doing this in Shanghai when it opens up, whenever it opens up.
Yeah, one of the one day ticket price soon to be $100, and they're actually they went up and they down,
yeah.
But they're trying to do different prices, which is kind of nice. I mean, if you can go after hours and get a discounted price, I think that's worth it.
Well, part of the problem we have out here living in Orange County with Disneyland and here in Anaheim is that we're landlocked. And we reach capacity a whole lot faster than you do in Florida, because in Florida you have like 4 or 5 parks now that
you can choose from.
Right. And here we only have the 2, and they're literally landlocked by freeways. So what they have to do is there's been times like Dapper Day where the park comes to capacity.
Wait. Explain Dapper Day.
Oh, I should explain Dapper Day, because Dapper Day is actually coming up in the parks. I'm going to do a quick nod to them. Dapper Day is a day where you actually get dressed up like when Disney opened in the 50s, and you go and ride the rides and have some fun in your retro or haute couture attire. And Dapper Day actually takes place in 3 of the parks. So we have Dapper Day here in California. They have one in Florida, and they have one in Paris as well. And it's coming up next month.
Well, that's fantastic. I haven't been to Dapper Day.
You
haven't? I've been to the official, unofficial Star Wars Day. I've done that.
Dapper Day is still considered an unofficial day, but if you don't have a ticket to Disneyland, you can still come out for the expos that they will be having, which are going to be on property here in California. It'll be at the Disneyland Hotel, and it's open to the public.
That's awesome. And actually, you can go on some websites if you Google Dapper Day.
Dapperday.com.
Yeah. So if you what's nice about these type of it's a form of cosplaying, but what's nice about it is it actually you create social and have fun things to do. Fun family things. A little geeks. That's okay.
I think next we're going to have to talk about Disney bounding.
What's that again?
In one of our upcoming podcasts, we're going to have to talk about Disney bounding.
There you go. But there's also there's some. LGBT days. There's some other days.
Unofficial Harry Potter Day, Tiki Day, Adventures Day.
Yeah, there's pretty
Bats
much
Day.
Yeah, there's pretty much a day out there, unofficial day for you, so you can go check it out.
There's actually a website dedicated to the unofficial days as well.
Really?
Yeah, there's actually a couple of days, a couple of different websites. Mouse for Life, not Mouse for Life, but Mouse for Life is great if you want to just interact with other Disnerds. There's that one. There's Unofficial Disney Days.
Right.
There's Mouse Savers. A lot of these Mice Chat, they all have great little forums if you want to learn about the different unofficial days they have at Disney.
What's really great about it is that it allows you to, like I said, you socialize with people, more friends and families, and you have likes, if you like being a Dapper Day, if you like dressing up that way, or Star Wars nerds, you can go ahead and hang out with them, which is fantastic. But to put things to challenge, Universal Studios just opened up the Harry Potter.
Yes, right now they're soft opening the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, which is going to officially open on April 7th.
Right.
From what I hear, I've got friends that worked on the project. It is just absolutely fantastic. It's not quite as big as what we have in Florida already.
Right.
But they just say that this is just going to be neat because the rides are all new. They're not actually taking an area of Universal Studios and revamping it. They actually built all of this from scratch. So they didn't have to integrate anything with it.
And if you haven't been over by Burbank area or that area,
Universal City,
yeah, Universal City, there's a huge castle there now.
There is. You actually drive through there, and Hogwarts Castle rises from the edges of Universal City up there high on the hill.
Yeah.
With what used to be the Gibson Amphitheater.
It was,
and a parking garage.
It was what? No.
It was an amphitheater and parking garage is now Hogwarts Castle.
So those are actually some of the items that are popping up here in Southern California, as well as Disneyland, and like we like to call Tales from the Mouse Side. But now moving into, of course, my favorite part.
Your favorite part?
My favorite part, dating a geek.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to move into that. So, it's always, they have all these myths about what geeks are and who they are and whatnot. But dating a geek has a lot of benefits.
It does.
My favorite one is loyalty. They will never ever stray from you. I mean, if you're actually in a relationship with a geek and how they are, or you'll find out that they're very loyal. We don't cheat, because we don't have a whole lot of game. We like being who we are.
That is very true.
Yeah.
I guess I was technically dating my boyfriend for about 4 months before I even realized that he was actually trying to date me.
He was trying. Yeah. We're slow movers.
They are.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to spell it out for us.
Yeah. I was clueless.
Yeah. No. Actually, my ex. Actually, I think we hung out for a year.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I was trying to get the nerve to ask her out. And it was just kind of one of those things. I just couldn't, I didn't know what the right timing was.
And see, I used to have this great way of looking at things that I would date outside the gene pool, and I wouldn't date out of my group of friends. And so I didn't date a nerd until my current boyfriend. And it's one of those things I was like, wow, what have I been missing? Because there's so many things that we can do together.
Right.
And we enjoy talking the Star Wars, and we enjoyed going to Celebration together, and
right.
And all those really nerdy things. I mean, both of us, this is so sad. We took the day off when Seasons of the Force opened so we can ride everything before everybody else did. And we're like the first ones in line. It was so sad. But yet that was something we could do together. Right. Which is kind of fun.
Which is funny because that's one of the good things about being a geek is we're willing to go anywhere and hang out. It's not like we want to stay home.
No, we actually don't. That whole myth of of the geeks staying home in their basement,
right.
just, watching movies and reading their comic books. That's such a fallacy.
Yeah. And the big myth of geeks not being with people or don't get married is absolutely not true.
Correct.
I know a lot of geeks who have kids and family and wives and relationships. So we're not totally dysfunctional.
No.
I think geeks are more passionate about things that a lot of people don't understand.
Yeah, you might want to date a geek, because another thing too is that they're more open to do things. Like, even though you might be interested in one thing and they might be interested in another,
right?
Whereas most people are going to be like, "Oh, that's stupid. Why do I even care?" They're going to be, "I'll give it a try." Which
kind of brings me to my next point. So there is a new club out called Club Cosplay.
Yes.
So it's geek and nerd safe. If you're a geek, you're a nerd. And actually, I have to give a big shout out to Ivan, because he created the Club Cosplay. And what you really don't know about it is that it's a fun family kind of a clean event. It's not like a nightclub snobby. It's more of a nightclub of your friends partying with some really cool dance music. They have an amazing DJ Galactic Ray. Yeah, he's awesome. But at the same time, that's one of the great things, which is going down on March 12th. But the other one
at the Yost Theater in Orange County.
Exactly.
Santa Ana.
Santa Ana is a city, but OC is a county.
OC, yeah.
But the other great thing that he's done is his things called Geek Meet.
Geek Meet, and I think one of the great brainchilds of this also is Agents of Nerd Safe.
Right.
Where they actually have guys that have been specially trained to look out for, people being accosted or anything like that. So you can be in that safe, fun environment and meet people with Geek Meet as well.
Well, this other comic actually we haven't talked about is Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
And the Harley in there is extremely attractive and extremely sexy. And a lot of cosplay girls actually cosplay that costume.
Yeah, Harley.
So, you have this girl walking around in the sequins booty shorts, basically.
Pretty much.
And just, being a flirt, being obnoxious, and being evil. But a lot of girls like that. And, of course, a lot of geeky nerd guys like that, too.
Oh, yeah.
So, you have this crossover of this hot geeky girl, which there's a lot of them out there, and that's what's nice about it. But Geek Meet is nice because if you want to meet geeky people, that's the place you can go. They have Lightspeed nerd dating.
Yes.
So you could actually do that and enjoy that.
You could actually speed date of people of your own kind.
Right, exactly. And it's a free event, which I think is awesome.
At the Sidebar in Fullerton.
Yeah, and they're actually talking about traveling with that, so you might be able to check that out. But the other side of this is Geek Pride. Goes down pretty much once a month, maybe bi-monthly, at the Dragonfly in Los Angeles. And Geek Pride is about gay and lesbians.
Right. It's alternative.
Right, it's an alternative form of dating. But it's also like a party we can go. You can cosplay, you can be a geek and nerd, and you can be of that community and actually go and party. And that's a free event too.
It is, and it combines both of that. It combines both club cosplay and Geek Meet together into a fantastic event.
Yeah, for the LGBT community.
Yeah.
So which is really fantastic. So there's a lot of different venues out there. But yeah, so if you're gonna date a geek, I definitely would recommend it. Because I think
happier.
And one thing I have to say is a lot of geeks are very successful.
Yeah, they are.
I'm sure Bill Gates and everybody else of those are geek nerdy people, and they're extremely successful because they're thinking of future. It's movies like Star Trek who gave us, like the communicators that gave us the cell phones and gave us the idea. It's those things that us geeks dream about that we actually create. There's the geek that dreams about it, then there's the geek that actually produces it.
Right.
And then actually, we're making technology come through. We are like the thriving, growing community. So it is pretty chic to date a geek, I would say.
It is very chic to date a geek.
I know there's a lot of geeky girls out there who are just like closet geeks who don't want to say it.
That was me for many years.
There you go.
Many, many years. I had to keep my geekness in the closet because I thought, oh, this is not what guys go for.
Right.
And I had 2 really bad relationships. Both of which were normal guys.
And you try to suppress your geekism?
I did. I actually had to. The worst part about it is that we took a trip to Disney World, of all places, during Star Wars weekends.
Right.
And I had to suppress so much of my geekiness. And I'm like, oh my God, Star Wars weekend. And he's like, no, I made other plans.
Right. No, that reminds me because actually when I went to Disneyland and I used to go with my ex, I let her just jump around and be a little girl and just enjoy it.
Yeah.
I didn't mind. I didn't care because she knows that I was doing the same thing and I was geeking out when in the Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
You know, especially the Star Tours. Oh, that's another thing. Star Tours is actually a new ride that actually they revamped.
They revamped it.
Yeah. So, but you know, that's one thing I think really cool about being a geek is that we allow you to be who you want to be.
We're a lot more understanding.
Yeah, exactly.
I think as people, and because we know that there's not just one type of geek.
Right.
You could be a sci-fi nerd. You can be a comic book nerd. You can be a Star Wars geek. You can be so many different things. You can be a cosplayer, and you don't have to have the same level and the same type of geekiness to get along, because that person's going to understand, oh my gosh, it's new comic day, I need to go to the comic book store.
Right.
And they're not going to be like, oh my god, you're a freak.
Real Greeks actually just have them shipped to their house, but we're not going to talk about that.
I know.
No, but you
then
know,
how do you meet other people that read your same books?
Exactly. So I mean, that's what all these alternatives out there. So again, welcome and thank you for listening to the Geek Side Radio. We'll be doing some more podcasts, of course, or check us out. Some of our events are coming out, but it's wonderful. Email me at djgalacticray.com should you have any questions or comments or anything whatsoever. I am DJ Galactic Ray, and my partner in crime,
Rebecca.
Yes. So we are very happy to be here, and we look forward to our next cast coming up.